guys, welcome. It's Live Connection again, doing our E3 pre-show, this time for Bethesda. We're going to talk about a few things that we're hoping for with them. First thing I want to mention is I really hope Bethesda has a better conference than they had last year.
A little bit lacking last year.
Last year, I mean, they literally announced games that and content that was already released for the most part. Like they talked about Fallout Shelter.
You can play Fallout 3.
They did like Fallout Shelter. They did. They talked about some Elder Scrolls Online DLC stuff that they were coming out with, and it was already out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and there wasn't anything really super about the conference. I know it was very disappointing for me when I watched it. I know a lot of people made that comment about them. So hopefully, I'm thinking this year they're gonna have some big releases just to make up for that fact.
I hope so.
So on that note, we're going to start off with one that's already been announced and was leaked by Walmart as for half the games that are now probably going to be announced at E3.
Old Man Jenkins.
Rage 2. So for those who... I played Rage 1 when it came out a long time ago. Don't remember a ton about it. I remember it was an excellent game. Combat was good. I know that the thing that was lacking mostly for it, for me, was there's not really any character development. There was no real... it was a really short game. Like, to beat that game was not very long. It was not very time-consuming.
I played it, like, within the last year or two, just because I've always heard about Rage, but never really known anything about it. It's a couple boxes, like, why not? And, yeah, I didn't beat it, but I seemed like I got halfway through pretty fast. I was like, well, I've seen all I need to see here.
This is Rage. Is this the game with the two dudes and the one's like a ghost kind of thing? No. What am I thinking?
That's Shadow of War.
No, it's not Shadow of War.
No, you're thinking...
That's my best friend, Casper.
Viewers, if you know, please tell Graydon. Yeah. Please educate him.
Educate him. I know what you're talking about, but it's not that game. The one thing that I think that they need to take in consideration here, and this is why I'm curious about what Bethesda's gonna announce, what they're gonna release, because you don't want to put ID Softworks' hard work into just shit, like just shove them to the side for another game like they did last time. Like they had Fallout New Vegas come out the year before it, and then they had Borderlands 2 come out the year after it. And I mean, you have hype for Fallout New Vegas. Fallout games usually have pretty good hype scaling for at least a year and a half. Usually, especially with the DLC that comes out consecutively after them. And then you have Borderlands, which, I mean, everyone liked Borderlands. I don't think I heard a bad review about Borderlands.
It's excellent.
And what Rage was is essentially the artwork of Borderlands with a mix of the story of Borderlands and Fallout. So that was what they went for. It was a Fallout Borderlands-esque game that they tried to go for, well in between the release dates of those exact games.
Yeah, it needed to be earlier if it really wanted to find its feet.
Yeah, and I think that was poor planning on Bethesda's part by releasing those two titles so closely.
It's kind of like Overwatch and...
Battleborn.
Battleborn.
Yeah,
Battleborn.
Very similar to Overwatch and Battleborn. Because Overwatch definitely overtook
Battleborn.
I didn't even know what Battleborn was, to be honest.
I'll tell you what it was.
No.
It was a waste of $80.
Ripping Reese's Pieces.
Yeah, so the thing that I have good hopes for Rage 2, because like I said, it was a good game. Rage 1 won awards, like best console game at E3 2010, I think it was. Let me just double check that. Yeah, 2010. And they also won, they got compliments on their graphics by IGN. They had very similar reviews to them. They had the best action game at E3. And their trailer won best trailer. So, I mean, you have a game that does all that and then doesn't... I mean, I know people played it. I don't want to say no one played it. There was a decent following for it, but it wasn't what it could have been.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think, especially with that kind of applause to it, I think they could be a lot better, and they could have gone for that. Like, give it a chance. Mm-hmm. And I mean, from what I watched in the gameplay trailer for number 2, it looks a lot better. Like, they cleaned up some of the combat stuff. I think it's going to be a beautiful game. Like, the graphics look really good. Yeah. It's a more aggressive shooter, which is what ID Softworks is known for. Is they're good shooters. Like they're not known necessarily for their storylines. They're anything else. They're good. They're known for that. Get a gun in your face and shoot your fucking head off, right?
Yeah, I think
shoot face.
Yeah,
I think what we'll get at E3 is probably just like some vehicle combat and stuff. Them driving through like an action sequence.
Yeah,
I think that will be cool. And
some
really
actual gameplay that we're watching them play, or someone play of their testers.
Yeah,
but yeah, no. So, I mean, it's something to look forward to. It's been rumored to release the first half of 2019.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. I'm definitely a game that
I'm just gonna keep
gonna
my
get.
eye on it. Yeah. I don't know if I'm gonna get it right when it launches, but
Yeah. No, I'm kind of the same way. I'm skeptical, but I have high hopes for it.
Yeah.
Your spectacle?
That's what I meant. And it's you. I swear it's you. This is your fault.
Hey, his idle word's good.
Yeah, so that's about it for that one. The next thing I want to really touch on is something that's been rumored for quite a few years now. Starfield. So just to quickly bring up everyone who has not heard of this game.
I know nothing about it.
Starfield is essentially supposed to be a Fallout game, but based in space. So it's supposed to take place during the same time periods as Fallout games, but it's almost as if you... I don't know if anyone's seen the TV show The 100 or heard of it.
I've heard
It's
of
a
it,
similar style where you have people on the ground and you have people that are in space surviving the apocalypse. So from my understanding, from what I've heard about it and what I've read about it, is it's supposed to be kind of along that lines, but putting your typical Fallout stuff, so big open world, storyline or multiple branches of storyline, just that kind of concept of a game in space. And I think that has huge potential, because especially with how successful Fallout games are, if Bethesda does it properly, they could have a game that I would say could almost rival the Elder Scrolls series, which I mean wasn't overly, and that'll be talked about later, it wasn't overly big until Skyrim. But I think it has a chance to do that. It has a great opportunity, and I'm excited. I'm really hoping for it. And they did say that Bethesda's releasing a massive title, that they have something that's on a scale they haven't worked on before. And I mean, when you're comparing that to Skyrim and Fallout 4, that's a pretty big thing to say, that they're saying they're working on a scale that's larger than what they've ever worked with, right? Because those were already massive games with their map size and everything you can do inside them. So I'm really excited for that. It's a game that I don't know, like, it's rumored to be in works, so it's not confirmed in works.
But it's confirmed that Bethesda has a couple a new IP or two, as well as games they're working on like right now. So something new, I think, will definitely be there. We'll see if it's Starfield, but I hope it is. I love sci-fi, so
yeah, exactly. And does anyone have any more else on Starfield?
I think it'll be pretty cool.
The other thing that kind of segues in what you were talking about, the IP, segueing into Fallout stuff that I wanted to talk about. I think that was one of the biggest things that made Fallout 4 from like a good game, or kept it from being a great game and kept it kind of as a good game, was their IP wasn't updated. Like they used their still current IP that they were using, instead of using an upgraded IP for it. From my understanding.
What do you mean IP?
What do you mean? You mean
like game engine?
You mean
okay, that's what I think.
Yeah.
They use their older game engine to utilize that game, which I think that was the big difference, right? Because people could see it. People realized, like, you had new color templates, you had new everything. It looked beautiful, but it also looked not of its time. Like you'd expect it to be a higher quality.
The game engine was my number one complaint about Fallout 4. I felt it really held it back from what it could have been. Like, it was still great, but it definitely put limitations on it.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people are really excited for Elder Scrolls 6, and I know that they really want a new Elder Scrolls, but based on Bethesda's previous timeline of releases since they got the rights to Fallout, which was Fallout 3 was their first game that they had rights to it with. It's been two Fallouts, one from one of their sub-companies, Obsidian, or they work with Obsidian, to produce games, and that was Fallout New Vegas and Fallout 3. So, and then they had Skyrim, and then they came with Fallout 4. So realistically, the next big title that should be coming out open world-wise should be an Obsidian product with a New Vegas, guys, their version, their take on Fallout, essentially.
Wasn't there rumors that there was supposed to be a New Vegas 2 at one point, if I remember correctly?
There's a few rumors on New Vegas 2. There was also rumors on New California. So I like Matt's reaction there. It kind of sounds like a stupid name. I don't think you'd name a game that, but they have been. I mean, Obsidian's been working on stuff that obviously I don't think any company just releases and just goes, okay, we're done. But it's also something like Bethesda doesn't release games unless they've announced it that year at a conference of some sort. So they don't announce a game and then say, okay, in 6 years our game's coming out. They announce it, like Fallout 4, they announced at E3 and it came out that fall following. Same thing with New Vegas, same thing with their previous game Skyrim. They have that tendency. They don't hype up anything. They have enough of a community following to have them hype it up themselves, right? They don't need to hype it up. But that's one thing I like. So anything we haven't heard about doesn't mean it's not possibly in the works, right? Like it's a possible thing for sure. But I definitely think this might be more so a chance than Elder Scrolls would be, just because from what I understand, Elder Scrolls 6 is supposed to be on a scale that's
like next gen.
Yeah, it's supposed to be beyond what they've done. And I know like I said, we've talked about they have 2 games in the works that are supposed to be on that scale.
Yeah.
But that's in the works, and if they don't announce things until they're completed, until they're ready to release, then it's probably not going to be till next E3 for that one. But that actually leads perfectly into our Elder Scrolls. What are you guys looking for Elder Scrolls?
I'm looking forward to the Skyrim port for Redstone computers in Minecraft.
God damn it. Redstone computers. The greatest crossover of all time.
You just broke Graydon.
You should have seen my face. Like, just confusion and disappointment.
I was like, Redstone, is that the code name for their new system that they're coming out with? And then...
It's just a meme.
It's just memeing. Honestly, I don't know. The thing is like, I'm not, to be honest, like the biggest Bethesda fan, but I've played Skyrim for years on like 3 different consoles and everything. And I feel like they could just never make another Elder Scrolls game and keep re-releasing Skyrim, and I'd be like, okay. Like, it's hard to think of moving on from Skyrim, considering it came out in what, like 2012?
2012, but you got to look at it this way
as
well.
forever ago.
People also said Elder Scrolls is one of those series that throughout its lifespan has been known to be ahead of its time when they release it. Mm-hmm. I mean, again, like I said, until Skyrim, Elder Scrolls was more a smaller community. At the time, like, the new thing was Bethesda got Fallout. That was their thing. They now have rights to Fallout. I don't forget the company that made the first 2.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
But they got the rights to it, and that was big. That was huge hype because they talked about open world, do this stuff.
It's a whole different.
It kind of consumed their other games that they had, or other game products that they had been making, and then Skyrim came, and then they utilized the Fallout. Basically the Fallout engine, and then just made it better, and then put in a medieval theme.
Throw some lightning in there.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. I think everyone can argue that that was game of its time. Like when it was released, that was the game of the year right there, just hands down.
Genre defining. Like,
yeah, and that's the thing. Yeah, go for it, Evan.
It was everything Oblivion was trying to be, which I mean, Oblivion also was a very good game. Like I heard lots
100%.
of hype about it, but it was very, like, not a lot of people really knew much about it. If I don't know if I'm right in saying that,
the issue
but
with it is that they didn't build it up like they did Skyrim. They were running off of their community they had for Morrowind and their previous Elder Scrolls games. And I mean, if you were to just take a list of Elder Scrolls releases in Bethesda's like history, they have almost DLCs. Their game list is consumed by their DLCs for their Elder Scrolls games.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
So it's I don't know. I think that they really hyped up Skyrim, and I think they didn't do it for Oblivion. Oblivion was a great game. But
I remember in high school how I just kind of putting context to or scale to how big Skyrim became is just like we were still in high school when it got released, and about a couple weeks after it was released, every person that had a computer had Skyrim running on it with horrible frame rate. Everything was dropping, and I mean, no one would ever play it past like the Golden Claw quest, but like you would see everybody everywhere playing that same quest, and you're like, what the heck are you all doing?
Oh yeah, exactly.
Everyone was into it.
Exactly. I have high hopes for it. I hope they keep building the story up, and I'm really excited. I hope they go a different route with it and change some stuff up. But honestly, if they just take that game, add a new engine to it, incorporate the one thing that I want them to incorporate from Fallout 4 that I think would be interesting is some sort of. I know they brought in like you build your own house in Skyrim, but I kind of want to incorporate that build your own town idea.
Yeah.
Maybe not on the same scale
Ooh,
as
that'd be
Fallout
cool.
4 did, because Fallout 4, the issue with Fallout 4 is you had too many.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Like you did,
overwhelmed.
you had every settlement, and
Not
the
for me.
issue is you couldn't abandon half the settlements. There would always be one settler that would have to sit there, and you'd have to constantly hear, Preston, yeah. He's just like, a settlement's in trouble. We need to help them, and it's just like, for fuck's sakes, I was
Settlement
just
needs your
there. You just walked
You
away
help
from
a couple, then you're like, all right, you can you can fend for yourselves.
Exactly. So I think if they took that, and even for both games, the new Fallout and new Skyrim, adjusted it and made it a little more refined, so it's a little more perfected, I guess.
Yeah.
I think it was an excellent part of the game. I enjoyed it. I spent a lot of time on it, but it did get annoying with some of the stuff they had.
That's pretty hit and miss with a lot of games, though. Like, I don't feel a lot of games do it very well. I didn't even think Skyrim did the house thing very. It was neat, but it wasn't like, it was like, eh.
Yeah.
I think I've been playing State of Decay, and that's probably my best example of a settlement or an outpost done right.
Yeah.
And I can't really think of any other examples. It's just either too much or not enough, or like it's hard to find that balance.
Yeah, so it's like finding that between that complete customization to like click and place kind of customization, which I actually prefer click and place, because I spent hours trying to put walls up around my settlements and nothing would fucking fit. But yeah, no. Is there anything else we want to touch on quickly before we end this one up?
There's some teases of Prey DLC, which should be interesting if that turns out to be true. And I think the other big thing that will be there is maybe Switch ports. Bethesda seems to really like the Switch, so we'll see if they do anything new for that.
Matt's gonna become a Bethesda guy
Yeah.
because of the Switch.
See, I don't know if I can play these big games on a Switch.
Well, after you have an Xbox, yeah.
Yeah, it just feels like I should have a controller and a bigger screen.
No, it's
Greg
fair.
needs his achievements.
It's fair. We won't delve into that, because now we're getting into Nintendo's Switches and what we like and dislike. And Matt's gonna fucking blow a blood vessel. All right. So, anyways, that's what we got for our pre-show for E3. Tune in for I think it's the 11th is the
Yeah, I think so,
Bethesda's
yeah.
conference. We're gonna release our post-show video that day. So hope you guys enjoy. If you guys have any comments on what you guys want to see, leave them in the comment section. Let us know. Help us create our community.
Leave a like to reduce Matt's blood pressure for that comment.
That's gonna explode as soon as this video ends.
All right, we'll see you guys. Thanks
Hey
for
Matt,
watching.
when's a good Sonic game coming out for this Switch?
And then there.
Bye.